All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people just like you right there, and yours truly right here. The band Chicago keeps on keeping on, but outside the band of Chicago, there are a bunch of former members of Chicago who are now at least friendly, which I think is very interesting. Could an 80s version of Chicago sort of emerge from all of these guys who are kind of out there? And of course, they can't use the Chicago name, but I'm sure they could find something creative to use to bring back the second version of Chicago, which really the Mach 2 version was when David Foster kind of took things over. And tell you what, there are fans of both versions of the band. I know the purists, the hardcore Chicago fans, the Terry Kath group and all that, anything after Terry doesn't really matter to them. And, you know, I kind of get that, but as time has gone by, and I'm a big David Foster fan. I know he's not the most humble guy on the planet, but I'll tell you what, he's extremely talented. And wouldn't it be cool, say, if Foster took a bunch of these guys out on the road performing 80s Chicago tunes? And yes, there is enough material between 16, 17, 18, and maybe a few tracks from 19 and 21 sprinkled in there, just for good measure, even though Foster wasn't part of 19. One of his key guys was a part of 21, and you know, you'll get a debate about the production on 19 versus 21. Certainly they were trying to move a little bit more of kind of a rockier edge to their sound. But in any event, here are some of the appearances. We've had former vocalist Jeff Coffey hanging out with Peter Cetera. Very cool there. We've had Jason Scheff hanging out with Jeff Coffey, two former Peter Cetera replacements. We've had Peter Cetera and Danny Serafin, you know, at least had a picture taken together. Danny showed up at a Peter gig, and Peter and Danny hadn't seen each other in ages, so that was really cool. Bill Champlin being pictured with Jason Scheff and Danny Serafin for Danny's 70th birthday party. And I know Jason Scheff is working on some new material, and my guess is it's going to be really, really fine as far as music. I bet you it's going to be great. And, you know, he did this project last year with Tommy Melm, Walking on Air, and it was spectacular. It was just great. I know Jeff Coffey would love to land another gig like he had with Chicago. And look, folks, you've got all these players out there. Wouldn't it be cool, again, Foster shows up and he says, hey, let's get this band together. You got Bill Champlin. Cetera could be in. He might not be in. That's fine. You got Jason Scheff and Jeff Coffey out there. So you got some fine voices to kind of replicate that 1980s version. Of course, Jason had a ton of experience performing all of the Peter Cetera stuff from 16 and 17. And of course, his album was 18 and then continuing on 19 and 21. And even maybe some stuff after that, like Here in My Heart, from that Chicago Greatest Hits compilation that came out like 95 or so. There's a lot of material, and it would be really fun to see this version of the band back. You know what I mean? Because the other guys, they're not too keen on performing the 80s Chicago tunes as much as they like to delve back. This is what their thing is now. That's why they're doing Chicago 2 in its entirety, which is fine and awesome. But there are a lot of fans like me that really loved the 80s version of the band. We shall see if anything happens. It's kind of cool seeing all these guys sort of hanging out and pictures surfacing. Peter Cetera looking fantastic for his age and still sounding amazing. Would he sign off on a gig like that with Bill Champlin and Peter Cetera again? That would be amazing. And I think folks would show up in droves to buy tickets for that. All right, I'm done. My video is done. I'll be back soon. Stay tuned for more.